Alright guys, Anderson talks today about the top 10 best strikers in the Premier League today. Premier League strikers are supposed to get goals and win games, and these 10 are the best in the league at doing so. Shout out to the honourable mentions: Marcus Rashford, Jermaine Defoe, Charlie Austin, Oldie Nagalo. If you wanted, you could throw in Sanchez, Roberto Firmino, but they haven't played striker through most of their careers, so I'm looking at it in that way. So here's the top 10. At number 10 is Islam Slimani, the new boy at Leicester. £28 million is a lot of money, but he has the record to back it up, because after the World Cup he scored 12 goals in 21 appearances, then he scored 27 in 33 last year, so it's looking good for Leicester as they look to have picked up a top 10 player. At number 9, Olivier Giroud. Now, before you leave your comments, before you leave your dislikes, hear me out, because he's actually a decent striker. Because since he's come in the league, his numbers in terms of goals have just gone up. 11 goals in 34, then 16 in 36, 14 in 27, but remember, he got hurt, he got injured that season, 2014-15. Then last year, 16 in 38. Now, even though we know he can be largely inconsistent and go periods of time without scoring a goal, at the same time, in the same season, he can have periods when he's just unplayable, because you know in the air he's one of the best. So at number 9, get it, number 9 striker, you get it, because never mind. Number 9 is Olivier Giroud. Number 8, the 8th best striker in the Premier League, of course in my opinion, is Christian Benteke. Now again, hear me out on this one. I know he can be considered a Liverpool flop, but he's actually a really good striker, even better than Giroud in my opinion, of course. Because you remember that Benteke who was at Aston Villa when they signed him, he was a nobody, but then 2012-2013 he came in with a bang. 19 goals and 34 appearances. He was a beast, straight beast. And considering how his career's gone, especially at Aston Villa, the next season he had 10 goals and 26 appearances. Of course, he was injured that year and Aston Villa missed him dearly. How they stayed up, ooh, miracles. Then he got 13 and 29, and you can see the effect that he's had on Aston Villa. Since they lost him, Fabian Delph, all of them, man, they've gone down, and they've even sacked their manager just yesterday. So that club is a mess, and largely because they sold Christian Benteke. And he's the best header in the Premier League, without a shadow of a doubt, because in terms of getting up, using your strength and general technique, he's a monster in the air. People can compare to him, but he, in my opinion, is just the best. So at number 8, it's Christian Benteke. Number 7, the 7th best striker in the Premier League, in my opinion, is Jamie Vardy, reigning defending Premier League champion, who scored 24 goals last year in 36 appearances. And it's not only me that's taken notice, everybody's taken notice of this surprise. Even then manager Roy Hodgson called him up, and he's been decent for England. He's been doing alright, because in terms of international success, he's got 7 appearances and 4 goals to add. And in terms of general play, just know an over the top ball from Drinkwater to Vardy, if he's in on goal, just forget about it, because it's a goal. And it's not going to be pretty either. He's just going to smash it as hard as he can, but even though his technique isn't the best, you know it's going in. And he did that all of last year, which makes him prolific and just a scary guy. And add on top of that his pace, it's just a nightmare for any defender to come up against. It's just too scary, and he's number 7 on this list, Jamie Vardy. Number 6 on this list, in my opinion, it's Daniel Sturridge. Now hear me out, because some people might even say that people I've named on this list, namely Jamie Vardy, at this moment in time is better than Daniel Sturridge. But let me explain. You see that 2013-14 season when Liverpool almost won the league. You saw that SAS, that Suarez and Sturridge connection. At the time, it was the best partnership in the world. Flat out. Nobody could compare to that. That was a crazy partnership. When Suarez, he scored 30, I think it was like 30 goals or whatever. Add to Sturridge's goals and the rest of the team's goals, of course. They almost, and really they should have won the league, but I ain't gonna offend no Liverpool fans out here. Gerrard slipped, blah blah blah. It's in history now. And the thing about Daniel Sturridge is he can replicate that season every single time if he wanted to, but the only thing that's stopping him is he gets hurt way too often. He moves like he's got glass legs because he's injured almost every other month. To be fair to him, he's improved his healthiness over the last few months because he hasn't been injured in a relative while for his standards. But he could be a top 5 player, at least a top 5 striker, if only he was fit, because he's extremely intelligent, he can finish, he can pass, he's just a brilliant player, and in my opinion he's a better player than Jamie Vardy. But the only thing that's stopping him from being higher on this list is that he's just too injury prone. If only he can stay fit for another full season, who knows what could be Daniel Sturridge. At number 5, we're getting on to the big boys now. Top 5 players, strikers in the Premier League. And to start it off, Romelu Lukaku. And there's not much to say about him. Flat out, he's just a beast. He's strong, physically imposing, in the air, he's unstoppable just like Benteke. He's relatively quick for a man his size. He's just a full package, a complete striker. He can do anything you want him to. You could ask him to run in behind. He won't do it like Jamie Vardy, but he will do a job. You can ask him to be a target man. He won't be like Benteke, but he's damn sure close. You can ask him to do any sort of job, and I think he could do it. The only thing that limits him, in my opinion, is his first touch, because at times it can be just shocking how bad his first touch can be, because if it was better, he could be, in my opinion, top 3. A top 3 player. He's that good. And he's got the numbers to back it up, because he's got 15 appearances in his first season at Everton, 10 in his next, 18 last season, and he's already got 5. And I know you remember that season when he was at West Brom. I know you remember when he was one-man offense and he scored 17 out of 35 appearances for West Brom. He was lethal. Just Romelu Lukaku, he's deserved to be number 5, and you never know, he could be higher. Let me know in the comments if you think Romelu should be higher, granted the players that are coming up. In at number 4, this is a bit controversial. Perhaps he should be higher, maybe he should be lower, but I've got Harry Kane as the 4th best striker in the Premier League. And since he's come onto the scene, he's just been a beast. Straight up, he's been crazy, mad. I know you remember his first proper season at Spurs. He had 34 appearances, banged in 21 goals. Light work, calm. And I know you were one of them people the last season who were saying, he's a one-season wonder. He ain't gonna do it again. Look what he done. Golden Boot winner, easy 25 goals in 38 appearances. He's played every single game and he banged in 25 goals. In terms of his link-up play, him in the air and getting into the right positions to score the amount of goals that he does, he's amazing, and Tottenham are just so lucky to have him. And for England, he's got 17 appearances with 5 goals to match. That's impressive to my opinion. He could, and if you want a player to compare him with, why not Alan Shearer, who is the leading goal scorer in Premier League history. And people say that elements of Harry Kane's game are Alan Shearer-esque. So if they're saying that, just imagine how many goals Harry Kane could get. And you know how great Alan Shearer was, because in total he's got 283 goals and nobody's even close to matching that. So imagine if Harry Kane keeps putting up the numbers that he's putting up, 20 plus goals every season, he could well come close or even break Alan Shearer's goal record. That's how good Harry Kane is, and that's why he's number 4. But surely if he's that good, he should be higher up this list. But in my opinion, he just can get better and better, no doubt. Some people are going to agree with me, of course, I expect that. But in my opinion, the next 3 players I'm going to say are just better than him. Number 3 is Diego Costa. Now wait, hold on. Wait. We know Diego Costa, he's a bit of a prick. Give him that. But it works for him. You remember the last season he had at Atletico Madrid, he went off. He was going up against Messi and Ronaldo, so technically we knew he was not going to get that golden boot because Messi or Ronaldo had it wrapped. I think that season was Ronaldo as well. It was that season Real Madrid won the Champions League. But he got 27 goals in 35 appearances, which that's still extremely good. Then when he went to Chelsea, you remember he went off straight like that, off the bat, off the muscle. He was amazing, and he got 20 goals in 26 appearances. That's absolutely amazing, because usually you've seen people on this list that have taken time to adapt to the Premier League game when they first moved to England. But Costa was like, nah, easy, 20 goals just like that, and he won Chelsea the Premier League along with Hazard, Fabregas, all of them, man. Last season, he was okay, 12 and 28, but largely Chelsea just had a bad year that season. And Diego Costa, he started off brightly this year. He's already the top goal scorer in the Premier League, so he's got undoubted talent when it comes to scoring goals. Of course, his antics on the pitch, they're questionable. He likes picking a fight and he likes to act the tough guy in a lot of his matches, but hey, it works because defenses know that they've got to be smart when playing Costa, not only just in terms of football, but a mental battle. And having that kind of psychological power over players, that's scary, man. That is scary. No other player, except maybe the next one, has that advantage over players, and that's why, in my opinion, he's better than Harry Kane and all the other players that have been said. Now 1 and 2, you could throw them around if you want, but they're pretty clear in my head. Number 2 is Manchester United's Wayne Rooney. No, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Zlatan, Uncle Zlatan, which is what I like to call him. Throughout the years, he's been monstrous. There's nothing much more to say. Every single country he's been in, he's won a domestic league. That's crazy. The only thing missing from his resume is a Champions League. And to be fair, you really don't need that to be a great player, because Ronaldo didn't win the Champions League. You gonna tell me Ronaldo wasn't a good player? And Ibrahimovic is of that mold of just being a flat out goal scoring machine. He's just one of the best. You saw at PSG, I don't care if that league was easy. 38 goals in 31 appearances is no joke. Compare that with his 30 in his first season at PSG, his 26, then his 19, his 28 at Milan in 32, his 14, his 16 even at Barcelona with his pet problems and all of that. Inter Milan, he was a beast. Juventus, Ajax, I could go on for days. But let's stick to the Premier League, because in the Prem, he's started brightly. In 7 appearances, he's got 4 goals. He's started brightly already, and even though Man United, they're not performing as they would like, it's early. You know they're going to get the kinks working. Pogba's going to be on form. He's going to be spraying the balls. Rooney, he's going to be doing Rooney. Then you got Mkhitaryan, you got Mata, you got just firepower everywhere. And for me, all I see is players feeding the big man, feeding Zlatan, so he can score the spectacular goals that we know he can. Now, even though Zlatan is number 1, undoubtedly, I'm sorry, Sergio Aguero is not only the best striker in the Premier League, he's the best player in the Premier League. I'm comfortable with saying that, because since he's jumped into the Premier League, he's been on a tear. First season he won the league, we had that moment, that crazy moment. Martin Tyler, he will go down in history just because of that. But then afterwards, he's just been putting up ridiculous numbers. Look, first season, 23 goals, 34. Second season, 12 and 30. Third season, 17 and 23. Next season, 26 in 33. The last season just gone, 24 in 30. This season, 5 in 4. No way. No one can even match his numbers. He's amazing. He's already got 107 goals in 154 appearances for Manchester City. He's gone down already in Manchester City in his first season as a Premier League legend, a Manchester City legend. And he's, in my opinion, the best. Fast, can get in behind, intelligent, tricky. He's relatively strong as well for somebody of his size, and he's tenacious. He's not Jamie Vardy tenacious, but he can press like nobody. And it's crazy to think that a player in the Premier League is beasting and feasting that much. It's crazy. He could definitely walk into, apart from Barcelona maybe, and Bayern Munich, he could walk into any other team in the world, apart from the teams that I mentioned for obvious reasons. he could walk in and he would perform as well, which is why I think Sergio Aguero is the best striker in the league. Now, of course, that's up for debate because that's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and let me know if you want me to keep doing these top 10s. Should they be short or should they be long? And let me know the feedback so I can get better and give you the best content possible. Anyways, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and have a nice